Welcome back to the workshop of Wood Spun Round. This is Doug. It is good to have you with us. I've got a piece of oak on the lathe. I started this in a live. I thought it might be walnut. It turns out it's oak. No question about that. But it's also a knot. This is on the side of a tree. Just, the end that you can see before the tree is cut down was exposed. It's actually on the other side of this. I'm turning the inner part of the knot. This was going to be the top, but because I was having so many troubles with the other side, and I'll show you that here in just a little while, decided to make this the bottom side of the bowl instead of the top. And so what I'm doing here is just shaping, getting a curve toward the top. I'm going to cut a good bit of what's going to be the top off, I'm just giving it some shape here, using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge as I usually do, coming at the corner to begin with to get it in balance, so I can get some speed going here. Marking for my new tenon that I'll be using. Using a parting tool there just to give me a good mark, get a place so that I don't lose it in all that's going on in this wood. For whatever reason, I'm changing over to my 1/4-inch Badan. I'm not sure why I do. And here's why I'm not sure this was such a good idea. It just caused too much pressure there, and it popped off. It was that old tenon that I was turning with was kind of rotten. You'll see it better when I turn it around here. But we've got it back in the chuck. Everything is fine and dandy. That was about the 3rd or 4th time it had come out of the chuck. And now I've got it turned or back in the chuck, and we're just finishing the bottom. You can see I've got the tenon pretty well established. We're creating a foot and rounding out the bottom so that it can be presentable when this whole thing is done. Using the Easy Wood finisher just to clean up the bottom. Had some issues. You'll see those issues here in just a minute. And now I'm sanding. I do my usual sanding routine from 80 grit to 220. And then I'm going to use the abrasive paste and wax as well. You'll see that. Now you can see that bottom. Lots of cracks that were in this knot. And those went all the way through the knot. I didn't realize how bad they were until I got kind of to this point. And then I was kind of wondering, is this bowl going to make it? But here I'm just using a bit of alcohol. I've already sanded all the way to 220. I'm using some alcohol just to clean the grain out. I'm also noticing some paper towel that's gotten hung in some of those cracks. And so I'm going to reach up here and grab one of my dental picks. And this dental pick gets used a lot with this bowl, both on the outside and on the inside. So I use the alcohol, the abrasive paste, the wax, all of those use paper towel. And paper towel gets stuck in some of these cracks every single time. I'm just spinning it here to help the alcohol dry a little bit. The alcohol dries awfully fast, and just spinning it just for a few seconds really speeds up that process. So the alcohol is done. Let's put a little sanding sealer on it. This is the Mohawk sanding sealer, the tonal lacquer sanding sealer. Does a real good job for me. I get this from Klingspor, and it's about the best price I've found on a sprayable sanding sealer. Just showing you there that this is the Axe abrasive paste. And we're going to go through the normal routine. I'm going to put it on, rub it around a bit. I'll start the lathe at like 200 just to work that in, and then work the speed up, break that grit down. When I feel like it's pretty well done, I'll speed it up and move to clean part of the paper towel, just to kind of buff off all of the remaining wax and oil that is the carrier for the abrasive. Does a fantastic job for me. So we've done the abrasive paste, we've done the wax. Now we're going to turn it around. And here in just a second, when I get my hand out of the way, you'll see that rotten tenon that I was using. See there? It is bad. I did not realize it was that bad. In fact, when I first started turning it, it wasn't. That center portion wasn't bad until I got down into the wood just a little bit, and it got worse the further down I went. And what I've come to realize is that that knot was sitting there, and water for however many years was getting down into that knot and just really giving this wood a hard way to go. But you also see a lot of color, a lot of lines, and that's one reason I wanted to turn this. I really wanted to see, one, if I could get it done, but just how beautiful is this wood going to be. I didn't show you much of it there, but that center section was really bad, and it just kind of flaked away as I hit it. And so what we're doing is just working down the sides of this bowl. As I get down a little further, I take some more out of the center, and I go down a little further on the sides and come back to the center. That way I keep plenty of meat there to take some of the vibration out of the sides, so that it has a chance to stay together. But here I'm just working down that center just a bit so that I can work down the sides a little more. I've worked down the sides pretty well to the bottom, so it's kind of time to start working this whole bottom section all as a whole. And I still don't want to go very fast with it. I don't want to hog it too hard. I don't want to create any more vibration than is absolutely necessary. There's enough cracks in this wood that if there's much vibration at all, it's going to go. And it's looking too good at this point. I don't want to lose it. So here you can just see I'm just taking fine cuts, not even going all the way to the center yet, but trying to get nice even wall thickness from the rim all the way down. At this point, I've probably sharpened my gouge about 3 times already, maybe 4. Seems like at the end I even change the gouges, hoping that I can have a sharp one without going back to the grinder again. I'm going to stop here and just check, see what I've got. Check my thickness all the way down to this point. Feel a little bit of a lump there, so I'm going to come back. Let's go ahead and work that out before I take any more of the center out of it. Working this center section down, we're ready to go ahead and finalize this bowl. Not sure if you can tell or not, but I'm still getting pretty nice shavings The gouge is sharp. This knot is hard. Some of the hardest oak that I've turned in a really long time. But I am getting some nice shavings out of it. But I'm not forcing it whatsoever. I'm just taking light cuts. Like I said, I don't want to lose this bowl. Every time I've stopped, I've just marveled at how pretty it is. It's got issues. There's no question it's got issues. But those issues play into some of the beauty that's in this bowl. Just a couple more cuts here. We're just finishing up the bottom, making sure that it's smooth across there. Let's check and see what we got. You can see, oh my goodness, look at those cracks and that great big hole. In fact, there's a couple of big holes. That hole there, I've about decided was an insect or a worm of some kind. It comes through the bottom there, but it also goes out the side. So I've got a couple of nice big holes in this bowl. And those cracks were incredible. They went all the way through. And they were connected kind of there in the center, but they didn't radiate out all that far. I did have one well-known turner who has seen it and said there's no way she would have even started it. There's just too much good wood out there. My reply to that, and others have said the same thing, but my reply is that sometimes it's in the nasty wood, the cracky wood, that has some of the best color in it. So again, on the inside, doing my same sanding routine, 80 to 220. Then we'll do abrasive paste and wax on after that. And it does such a good job that I just have a hard time doing anything else. Again, just the alcohol just to clean it. Get the the sanding dust, any abrasive that may be left, get all that taken care of. Then we're going to use the abrasive paste and wax just like we did before. The alcohol shows up the colors really nicely, but then when I start putting on this abrasive paste, oh, the color just comes out so well. Excuse me. The spalting lines, the rot, the white of the oak, all of that comes together to really give us a really pretty piece. The abrasive paste is done. This is the wax. And I'm not going to show you a lot of this process because I really take some time to buff it out and give it a nice, really it's just a, excuse me, gives it a nice sheen. It's not a shine really, but it's a great sheen. And if I did more coats, it would get brighter as I went. Putting a little on the back while we're at it. Never hurts on wax to put more coats. The trick with wax is to put it on thin to begin with, buff it out, and then if you want it brighter, put some more, do another coat. Put it on thin, let it set up, and then go ahead and buff it out. I'm not going to show a whole lot of this process, and I'm not going to show you taking the tenon off either. That's just kind of tedious work. This particular one was even more tedious. It had to be sanded. I started to reverse chuck it between centers like I normally do, and it just wasn't having it, so I had to sand it. Here's some stills. Let me just ask you, if you would, if you'll hit the like button on your way out. And if you haven't already, if you'd hit the subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're already subscribed, thank you so very much. And until next time, I hope you're able to spin it around.